Good morning and welcome to Voice of Reason, the Tri-State's most famous source for high school, college, and professional sports. We always seem to do really well on the golf type of circuit. And today we've got one of the best golf events I think that this podcast has ever done in the at least probably close to 15 months, if not longer. In fact, we started officially, I think it was November or December of last year. I could be wrong. As this podcast, again, as mentioned, is now close to 18 official months. And today we are coming to you live from, or I should say on the taped edition of Voice of Reason, at the 22nd annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic. Who was Jim Maloney? What was he responsible for? Jim Maloney is a man who passed away, the former Big Five coach, most noticeably from Temple University, a man who passed away in 1996 after his heart gave out while driving on the Walt Whitman Bridge. We're going to talk about that to many different people as far as what Jim Maloney meant. We're also going to talk with the Big Five coaches who are here. We know that Jay Wright of Villanova is not going to be in attendance, but we did get a chance to see all the coaches here from John Giannini. I didn't see Steve Donahue yet. We're going to talk with them as well. And the co-chairman of the Coaches versus Cancer Philadelphia chapter, Fran Dunphy and Phil Martelli. They're both, Fran is here. Hopefully we're going to talk with again, as mentioned, Phil Martelli as well. We're going to try to get some interviews with them. We've also got St. Joe's play-by-play announcer, Mr. Bracketologist, Joseph Lenardi. When it comes to the winter, when it comes to the basketball season, nobody does it better than my good buddy Joe Lenardi. Also, Mr. Invincible is here. Vince Papali is in the building here at White Marsh Valley. We also have Mike Hagan of St. Joe's. We're going to talk with a lot of different people and the members of the Coaches versus Cancer Committee. Now, all proceeds do benefit the American Cancer Society. I'm beyond excited again as ever to be a part of something special. Again, it's very convenient. It's also 10 minutes from my house. So again, we've got a great show for you here today. We'll be here all day long at the Coaches versus Cancer's Jim Maloney Golf Classic, with all proceeds benefiting the American Cancer Society. Again, Jake Schwartz for another edition of Voice of Reason. Yeah, it's going to be a great day. We've got great people surrounding us here today, so stay tuned again. We'll be back again right after this with more different, or should say, with guests. It's a great, we didn't actually try to get any videos. It's a great day again at White Marsh Country Club, and I'm sitting down here on the 10th hole in Lafayette Hill with one of my favorite people, the man who put the name, the Michael J. Hagan Arena, and he is here, man. Michael J. Hagan himself is here. Welcome.
I'm happy to be here, man.
It's good to see you. And first of all, always a pleasure whenever I get to deal with you, going from the Narberth days to your son, Michael Jr., who now stars for Speedy Morris at St. Joe's Prep. What a beautiful but humid day here for Coaches for Cancer, the 22nd annual Jim Maloney Golf Outing.
Well, yeah, my son Michael plays for Speedy. I'm not sure he stars for Speedy,
but
he
will.
He's played there for 4 years at the Prep, and he enjoys every minute of it.
Yes, and he enjoys the voice, I heard.
He does.
He does. He tries to. No, but more importantly, we're not here for the voice. We're here for, again, as mentioned, for a great cause. Again, all proceeds go to the Coaches for Cancer. And I'm going to bring this up with a lot of the guests today. And before we, I guess, mention why we're all here, we lost a very dear friend of ours, Diane Moscow, passing away, the wife of our brother John Moscow, the head coach of Archbishop Wood. And it's just a good example of why we're here for a cause, cancer. We're trying to, as our friend Phil Martelli says, we want to eliminate and crush cancer.
We want to crush cancer. I mean, that's why everyone's out here today. We've been supporting the Coaches versus Cancer for probably 12 or 15 years, both on the national level and the local level. And every day you see a lot of people out here for just a phenomenal cause, and we're all kind of Philly Hoops fraternity, and we enjoy each other's company, and it's really about the fellowship of the day. But more important than that, it's about raising money to eliminate cancer.
And a guy like myself is honored to be a part of this, to be a part of the Philly community. We, as like you said, we support Philadelphia community. We're bonded together in the spirit of brother and sisterhood. On like I said, a beautiful September day here. Talk about what we are expecting as we move forward from this. Can we ever find a cure for cancer?
Well, I think you got the brightest minds in pharmaceutical research with a ton of money, both at the federal and through charitable organizations like the Coaches versus Cancer. So I got to believe that we're a lot closer than we think. And one day, I'm sure all of us on this golf course have been some way touched through father, mother, cousin, aunt, uncle in some way. And so one day, hopefully, we can tell our kids that we're involved in something that can hopefully, create a different prognosis for those affected, and hopefully a generation younger than us that won't have to deal with it.
And tell everybody out there in internet world, what is Michael Hagan doing these days?
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm here next to my partner, Jim Mirage. We're investing in businesses. We invest in entrepreneurs and other kind of businesses that we think are, creating a lot of sustainable jobs and, having fun, not working too hard, but hard enough.
And not focusing on the prep. How's the outlook this season? This, as we know, yesterday you and I were at the, I believe, Joshua Lynn's City of Basketball Love Next Level Shootout. We had a chance to watch prep play not one, but two games. With the addition of Jacob O'Connell, seems like the prep could really be on the map to make a trip down to the Palestra this year.
I think so. I think Speedy's got a very good team. We have two returning All-Catholics, or three, I think.
Three, that's right.
With Ed. And then Jacob's going to be a nice addition, another big man. That
Darius
and sort
Kyle.
of Darius and Kyle, which were first and second team All-Catholic last year. I think we're going to be good. It's a guard league typically, and I think that we've got a strong set of guards. Obviously, Roman, I think, reloaded, and I think Bonner has got some.
That's Bonner actually is the one who reloaded. Roman still has
a lot of talent.
Yes, still
and then
have
you got
the players
Wood and Newman Goretti, so it'll be a fun year.
Yeah. Michael Hagan, as always, we appreciate you stopping by. Good seeing you. We'll definitely chat with you here on the 22nd Annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic, White Marsh Valley Country Club. Mike, always a pleasure. Jake Schwartz here at another edition of Voice of Reason. Thanks, Mike. We're back here again at the White Marsh Valley Country Club here again at Lafayette Hill. And I've got two of my favorite guests again here at Voice of Reason. Of course, we all know him as he officially got promoted as the new assistant coach. I go back to the days when he was the video coordinator here at the Big East champion, national champion Villanova Wildcats, George Halkovich, and one of my favorite Villanova players, Cardinal Doherty players, and a guy that I think was one of my toughest opponents back in my high school days. Of course, Shane Clark. Gentlemen, pleasure to have you here. Beautiful day again, as mentioned today, and of course, it's for a great cause.
Thanks, Voice. We're great to be here, man. Thanks.
It's always good to see you as well, George. And I was going to say we certainly go back a long way, and it was a great season for Villanova basketball. But more importantly, we want to talk about again why we're here: the fight for cancer. Cancer has affected each and every one of us in our lives. Of course, we lost a dear friend of ours, Diane Moscow, just about a week ago, not even less than a week ago, the wife of a good friend, John Moscow of Archbishop Wood, and that's why we're here, like you said.
Oh yeah, just to honor Diane and all those people who lost their lives to this terrible disease, and for all of us to be able to be here, Voice, and to pay tribute to those people, and then also be part of the fight to defeat the disease. It's an honor.
It's great to have Villanova as well here on Voice of Reason, and more importantly, we're expecting big things. You officially started practice today, I believe, correct? Or when do you officially start?
We start this Friday.
This Friday. What's how's the season looking so far? How's the team looking so far, I should say?
The guys are all working hard. They've had a great summer and a great fall, and I think we're all geared up and ready to go to get this going. Yeah,
we lost two big names from Josh Hart and Chris Jenkins. A lot of the good freshmen coming in from Colin Gillespie all the way to Damir Cosby and Jermaine Samuels. You expect everybody to have a big impact this season?
I think, I think our guys coming back are ready to step into those leadership roles with Jalen, Dante, Mikhail, Phil. Phil will be back full, in full form, so we're excited to have Phil Booth back. And, every guy's going to step up a year older and a year more of responsibility, and we're excited for each one of our guys.
What's it like playing with this gentleman next to you, Shane Clark? He had such a great history at Villanova and had a great career here in Philadelphia.
Shane's one of the best ever. He's one of my favorite guys that I was ever able to be on the coaching staff with. We were actually reminiscing on the first hole about his shot fake in the Elite Eight game when he got a guy in the air and took him out underneath him in that great pit game when we were able to make the Final Four in 2009. So he's a legend at Villanova.
Well, he is, and we're going to talk with him right now. Let's bring that gentleman in. Shane, how are you feeling today?
Good, feeling great.
It's great to see you again. I understand these days you've been doing quite well. Would you like to tell everybody what Shane Clark is up to these days?
Right now I'm at an insurance company. starting going on to my 4th year. I'm sorry.
Unbelievable.
And just growing as a person, as a man, and as a human being.
Yeah, I remember going back to the days when you were playing at Cardinal Doherty with our good friend, Mark Heimerdinger. What was the best part about playing here in Philadelphia and then transitioning over to Villanova?
Just playing against friends and get to see other guys out there as talented as me, and like trying to put myself at the highest level when I play against those guys. And, that's most important, like just to have fun in college, high school.
Yeah, I remember when I actually first met you, I couldn't actually tell because I think you've had like 2 different names in the last like probably 10 years. People always thought, isn't that Frank Cicchetto, the guy that never comes off the bench? Because there's 2 people who look alike that smile. I've never seen a person have that good of a smile like you have.
Yeah, I guess you're referring to Frank Twishi.
That's right. I can't even remember.
No, that's my best friend. He's a
Great
godfather to my daughter, and he's a great guy, and love him forever.
And you had, like I said, we'll make this quick, one final question because I know, again, you've got to golf today. I just brought this up with George. What do you like about being here for the fight against cancer?
Just to let all those patients know they're not fighting alone. I'm wearing my rubber band right now.
You should.
That, you're never fighting alone. We're always doing what we can, do to help and in any way we can.
First St. Joe's, then Villanova. Shane Clark, George Halkovich on another edition of the 18th Annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic. Gentlemen, a pleasure. All right, George Halkovich, Shane Clark again here at the beautiful White Marsh Valley Country Club here in Lafayette Hill, PA. Thanks again to our guests so far. We got more exciting action again here at Lafayette Hill. We'll stay tuned again because we'll be providing updates all throughout the day. I'm Jake Schwartz for Voice of Reason. On the it's audio. On the 10th green, he thought we were doing video. We're here again at the White Marsh Valley, and I've got one of my favorite guests, probably one of my favorite people to know. When March comes around the corner, this is the guy you have to talk to for basketball. Who does what? I actually heard a rumor that he was during his golf with his buddy Manny Ramirez, not to be confused with the Cleveland Indian and Boston Red Sox guy. This man was actually predicting how far the ball would actually go into the sand. Joe Lenardi is here, and it is so good to see you again, my friend.
It's great to be here. It's a terrific day.
It's a little hot.
I know, but in another month or two, we're going to be complaining that we don't have days like this. So, we could be at work.
Yes, it's great. First of all, it's great to see you. And we go back certainly a long way from the days of the Scholastic Play-by-Play camp run by our good friend Jeremy Treatman. I could definitely say and vouch for the fact that we are here for a good cause. And I brought this up with George Halkovich of Villanova. As you know, we lost a very good friend of ours, Diane Moscow, the wife of the great John Moscow of Archbishop Wood, passing away after a long battle with leukemia. What an honor it is just to be along with my mother, who passed away years ago of cancer, and to just be able to honor these people here today.
Well, honor is one thing. I think the other mission, of course, is to try to limit the number of people we will be honoring in the future.
Oh, yeah.
It might not be my lifetime, but it might be that some form of cure for certain types of cancer can be found. And as you mentioned, there's not a person here, there's not a person on earth who hasn't lost someone.
Correct.
Exactly. And I'll just say that if cancer's record is as an unbeaten number 1 seed,
that's not a good thing.
Well, one of these days the 16 is going to win, and that's why we're here.
And that's, what you've actually put that down again as the perfect analogy. You're not just being the bracketologist at ESPN, you're also the color commentator for St. Joe's. And these days, St. Joe's is looking like they could be a very tough team to contend with in the A-10. What's their outlook coming into the year?
Well, if I was an orthopedist, I'd probably be more equipped to answer that question, right? Having lost 3 starters last year.
That's true.
To injury.
James Devery, who tore his ACL.
Yeah, Shavar Newkirk with the ACL, James with a stress fracture.
Right. Yeah.
Fresh Kimball with a stress fracture, and of course,
Checo
Oliva didn't suit up at all due to a knee problem, degenerative knee problem. Well, they're all back and in various stages of recovery. And I'll say this: if if the offseason MVP was the surgeon, the Hawks are going to be pretty good.
Oh, yeah, they're as skilled as it is. Well, again, as mentioned, tonight we will be doing a Q&A with all the college coaches. What a great job Phil Martelli and Fran Duffy do as co-chairmen of the Coaches versus Cancer.
Yeah, they all chip in, and their wives,
Yes.
like most of us, they're the brains behind the outfit.
They
Or what's that saying? Behind every successful man is a surprised woman.
Yeah.
And I think that certainly applies in Phil's case. I don't know about Dumph.
Oh, well.
And I will just say, it's not lip service for them.
No.
Like, they're at every event, and it's awful to say, they're at funerals and wakes
They should.
and memorials, and they make phone calls to people in the greatest time of distress. And, there's no camera, there's no coverage. They do it because it's the right thing to do, and I'm just proud to support it.
And I'm always proud to see you here on another edition of Voice of Reason. Joe Lenardi, Mr. Bracketologist, it's always so good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, Joe Lenardi here on another edition of Voice of Reason, the White Marsh Valley Country Club here in Lafayette Hill.
Thank you.
You got it, Joey. Anything for you, my friend. All right, here we go. And we're back here again at White Marsh Valley Country Club. And I'm so delighted again, as mentioned, as Phil Martelli and Fran Dunphy, the co-hosts of the Coaches versus Cancer Classic, as all proceeds benefit the American Cancer Society. And I'm standing here again right near the 10th grade. I'm hoping not to get hit, and I'm hoping this guy doesn't either. He is one of my favorite people in the world, John Griffin, the longtime Roman Catholic and St. Joe's University coach. John, it's always good to have you, and it's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. We have a beautiful day. We have a great field.
We have a hot day.
And we do. But this is what golfers like.
Well, that's true.
And all for a great cause.
Well, I wanted to bring that up because I've been bringing this up with all of our guests here on Voice of Reason. And as you know, no more than a week ago, we lost a very dear friend of ours. Diane Moscow, after a long battle with leukemia, finally passed away at the age of 51. We were all there in support of John, whether it was the viewing on Friday. I know you were probably there, or at least I know Matthew, your son, was, and we're going to actually talk about that in a few seconds. But to honor my mother or my grandmother or even other different people, Coaches versus just Cancer, the fight against cancer is why we all come together as a basketball community, even as a community in general.
Well, everybody's been touched with it.
Yes.
So I have a sister right now that's battling cancer, and it's a very hard disease to beat. There's been a lot of progress, and I'm excited about that. But again, I think it's just going to take a tremendous effort on all of our parts to continue this fight.
Yeah, you have two of your favorite sons. John Jr., who's coaching over at Bucknell now, and your son Matthew has taken over and really filled in the tradition of Roman Catholic power, will be in his second year as head coach. What's it like having, as a father, have now kind of carrying that legacy in basketball?
Well, I'm proud of both of the boys, John at Bucknell and Matt at Roman. It certainly gives us a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So when we watch basketball games, we all have a different perspective. But I think what's really good about it is we can all learn from each other. And I know that John has helped Matt, and Matt has helped John, and hopefully somewhere along the way I can help both of them.
And what is John Griffin Sr. doing these days?
Well, I've moved into the investment business. When I left St. Joe's, I'm still in that business, and I do some broadcasting
I hear
for the
you.
Atlantic 10,
That's right.
and keep pretty busy.
You try to as well. John Griffin Sr., we always thank you for stopping by. Always good to see you, and we'll definitely catch up with you.
Thank you. Great day.
John Griffin Sr. again here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. Coaches versus Cancer, the 22nd Annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic. I'm Jake Schwartz. It's so cool again to be back here at the Jim Maloney's 22nd Annual Golf Classic. I'm sitting here, or should say standing here next to one of my favorite, and I think he should be a head coach someday in college basketball. St. Joe's top assistant Jeff Arnold is here. How you doing, man?
Doing all right, Jake. Doing all right. Trying to be a golfer today.
You are a good golfer.
No.
You're one of my favorite golfers. I remember going back, because I think the only time, one or two times in my entire life, and the one time I was golfing, I think it was Twining Valley, and I actually ran into you. I'm like, oh my God, you're the assistant, because we really didn't know each other all that well, but we've really blossomed into a very good friendship.
You're a good guy.
So are you, my friend. I know you tell that to all the good announcers. You tell that to all the good scouts. But today is, it's a hot and humid type of day, but it is, again, as mentioned, for a great cause. We lost a very good friend of ours, Diane Moscow, just a week ago at 51 with leukemia. When it comes to cancer, this is personal, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I'm 4 years out from having surgery for prostate cancer.
I didn't know that.
And everything is all clear and good right now.
Very good.
One of my playing partners is Pat McGlory. He's a St. Joe, and he was the Hawk.
Was the Hawk, yes. Phil did mention that actually at lunch. I had heard that you would be playing with a guy who was the Hawk. Somebody was playing with a guy. I didn't realize that was your partner today, was the Hawk.
And Pat is just rang the bell because he finished his treatment. He had a battle with colon cancer. So, it's personal. Our foursome is personal. Just trying to create some awareness and trying to make sure that we can eventually defeat this thing.
I lost my mother. I lost my grandmother. I lost a lot of my friends to cancer. And when it comes to the Coaches for Cancer, how involved would you say you are with this organization?
Well, when they first started doing it, and it doesn't hit close to home, and then you realize, one of the toughest days was just calling everybody, my people and saying, hey, listen, I just got diagnosed. And so it's a very important facet. I'm glad that I'm a part of an association that deals with it, and tries to promote awareness with it with our weeks of suits and sneakers. Yeah. And but I think that it affects everyone, and it doesn't discriminate. It has no discriminate. Doesn't discriminate at all. So what I just try to do is my thing and my message with my team, Arnold, and I got to get you involved in that for the Gary Papa run.
Absolutely, yeah.
Our big thing is, to get checked.
Yeah.
That's my thing, to get checked. Absolutely. Early detection creates a situation where, you can get your life can be saved.
Yeah, one final question, because we're probably about to get hit by the next crew that's actually coming by. Tell us about, because we had a nice chat with Joe Lenardi. Joe's been around for many years at St. Joseph's. 3 players coming back from injury this year, including Shavar Newkirk. How high are the expectations at Hawk Hill?
Well, I always like to say, we're going to be as good as our health is.
Yes.
We had some kids get some tremendous experience last year, so that should carry through. And then with hopefully with Shavar and Checo Oliva's back, I'm happy to see that because he's been gone for a year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Fresh Kimball is the leg. He's back. He's fully gone. So, it's I'm cautiously optimistic.
You should be. But you know what? It wouldn't be if he ever were to go down with an injury. I wouldn't have a problem, only because he makes fun of me.
Oh,
he does. Jeff Arnold, as always, we appreciate seeing you, and thank you again for being here at the Jim Maloney's 22nd Annual Golf Classic. Again, we love when you come on Voice of Reason. More importantly, we always love seeing you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jake.
Okay, again, always a pleasure for Jeff Arnold, the assistant coach here at St. Joseph University. And again, more coverage here at the 22nd Annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic. I'm Jake Schwartz, the White Marsh Valley Country Club in Lafayette Hill. All right, we're here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. This is Merrill Reese, the voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm here with Vincent Papali. Here at the, I just had to actually do that as a joke. Back here again at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. And one of my favorite guests here on Voice of Reason, Vince Papali, and it's so good to see you again here today.
Well, it's always great to be here, especially for Coaches versus Cancer and the great things that they're doing here for kids and for people, research and survivors, and for those that have been stricken with cancer, like me,
yes,
a 16-year survivor, and it's just as good as it gets.
Well, and the reason I had to sound like Merrill Reese, today you are actually the first and maybe only guest regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday, Jake Elliott making history and franchise history. Something you never got a chance to do is kick a 61-yard field goal because it's the longest in team history. What a great game that was yesterday.
Oh, it was a spectacular game. Anytime you come away with a win, especially against a division opponent like the New York Giants, everybody, all the insiders and all the experts are saying it's a shutout. They're a bunch of dogs. And listen, when you're desperate like them, you're dangerous. I'll never forget that great line. line in the movie Replacements. When you got nothing to lose, you're dangerous. And they came out and they hung in there like rabid dogs, and they almost pulled it off. But you got to give a lot of credit, I think, aside from that, just getting down to that kick. You got to give some credit to Coach Peterson and the game that he called toward the end when they're down by 7. Now he has to get that tying touchdown and that great drive he pulled off with Carson. And then they stuck with the running game. Everybody run. He ran, and look what happened. And then of course what he had to do in order to erase that 15-yard penalty by Alshon. And just a good game plan up, get the ball out of bounds, and set up that winning field goal. So all in all, it was a great win on everybody's side of the field. And but today's a better win. And this is all about cancer. That's the real win. And that's the real win. And my hats off to all the volunteers, and also my sponsor here, Rick Hughes, and the guys I'm playing here from Laurel Creek Country Club. You can't beat it.
What about the guy interviewing you?
I've
had you on more times than ever.
I tell you, I think you're my world's record.
Oh, stop that. But about a week ago, we lost a very good friend of myself, and I'm sure you may have met him, John Moscow of Archbishop Wood, if you ever got a chance to meet him.
Oh, I didn't meet John, but I knew of John.
And you knew of his wife.
I knew of that.
We're here to celebrate her life. And to people like my mother who passed from this,
and my father,
and just people in general, like I said, who have either been or survived by or passed from this horrible disease, because that's really the real winner again here.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
And again, one final thought: now that the Eagles have gotten that first home win under their skin, they'll travel to San Diego. They've got a very tough schedule. Everybody knew it was going to be one of the toughest. I actually remember Mike Mayock telling me this could have been one of the toughest schedules in all football. What are we expecting here on out?
Well, for me, you're looking at the ultimate optimist and a big Doug Peterson fan, a huge Eagles fan. We're going to sweep it out there on the coast, and then they're going to come back, and they're going to be back in the good graces of the Eagles fans. So I figure we're going to be coming out of the trip out there. What are we now? 2-1. We're going to be 4-1.
I think, but more importantly, the better number is we're 2-0 here today. The Eagles win yesterday, and coaches and cancer, of course, we're 2-0. Vince Papale, always a pleasure to have you on here on Voice of Reason here at the 22nd annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic.
Undefeated, baby.
Undefeated. Vince Papale again here at Voice of Reason at the Jim Maloney Golf Classic here at the beautiful White Marsh Valley Country Club, Lafayette Hill, PA. And we're back here again at the, White Marsh Valley, back at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. The first half of the day is somewhat over here at the here in Lafayette Hill, Pennsylvania. And again, all proceeds benefit the American Cancer Society. We've had a great day here at with Coaches versus Cancer. Thanks again to all the City 6 coaches, Temple, St. Joe's University, Villanova, Penn, Drexel, and LaSalle for all lending a hand. And we've had some great guests, as mentioned. So far, we want to thank our guest, Jeff Arnold of St. Joe's University, Joe Lenardi, the bracketologist himself. We want to thank, again, as mentioned, John Griffin, a former head man over at St. Joe's, doing very well for himself. Want to thank, again, as mentioned, just a lot of great guests that have been here with us again so far. And I also want to thank Vince Papale, Mr. Invincible himself, and Villanova's George Halkovich and Shane Clark for joining us. We still have more exciting interviews that are coming up, and don't forget about our special interviews with the City 6 coaches. Now, we know that we have confirmed that Coach Jay Wright will not be in attendance tonight. We will, however, have interviews with Coach John Giannini of LaSalle, Zach Spiker of Drexel, both the co-organizers of the Coaches versus Cancer, Fran Dunphy and Phil Martelli. Hopefully we'll try to even get a member of the Coaches or versus Cancer of the American Cancer Society, one of the sponsors and speakers of the event. So again, we hope you're having a great day. It's warm. It is definitely warm. It's again September 25th, 2017, and by the time this interview again is mentioned officially gets aired, we could very well be in the cold type of weather. So enjoy this day, as they say, because it could be over before you actually know it. So again, I want to thank everybody again for joining us, and we'll see you again, as mentioned. Hopefully, in the evening session, we'll try to get as many interviews again as we can get here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club here in Lafayette, LPA, about 6 miles from where I live. And it's definitely, like I said, it's just fantastic to be here today. All proceeds benefit the American Cancer Society. It is Coaches versus Cancer, the 22nd annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic. So nice again, as mentioned, to be here, finally out of the sun of the White Marsh Valley Country Club. And I've got one of the co-presidents of the Coaches versus Cancer, and may I also point out the National Cancer Coaches versus Cancer Chairman, Phil Martelli, my good buddy, one of my favorite people in the world, my first guest of Coaches here on Voice of Reason. Phil, it's a pleasure.
Jake, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you, as always. And this has been an incredible event, incredible day. It was a hot one, but you know what? We were all here for a great cause.
Well, yeah, and the cause is great, but we have to end this, Jake. We have to crush cancer so that people don't suffer like your family has suffered, like John Moscow has suffered,
Diane Moscow.
And all of the people that don't sign up for this. So what we're going to do in my every effort. I wake up every day for my family. I wake up every day for my team.
Yes.
But I want to crush cancer. And I can't thank you enough for bringing the spotlight and your presence today. And you truly are a great friend to all of the coaches and to Philadelphia basketball. And you know what this means? I'm going to call you the voice.
Well, Phil, I appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. Again, I wanted to actually talk about, we lost a very good friend of ours, Diane Moscow, a battle of leukemia at the age of 51. You were at the viewing. I know I was at the funeral on Saturday. What does it mean to honor someone like Diane here today?
It's bittersweet, to be honest with you, because we're honoring people and nobody signs up for this.
No.
So what we have to do is we have to remember, we have to have that spirit that she had. That all of the fighters in this room tonight, those are true profiles in courage.
Oh, I agree.
And if we could take those and take those back to our campuses and get the young people on campus to fight, then we're going to leave the world a better place. And what better place to start than in Philadelphia?
Yes, it's my favorite city. I know it's your favorite city. One last question, because I know you've got things you've got to take care of. St. Joe's, you lost quite a few players last year due to injury. What are we expecting this coming season with guys like Shavar Newkirk and Fresh Kimball coming back from injury?
Well, we need them back. I mean, I don't know yet. We'll start practice September 30th. Once we start practice and we get a real feel for how people are progressing and if they're going to be ready for the beginning of November, and the battles that we will have, that will have the battles that we'll have not only in Philadelphia but the Atlantic 10, and hopefully we'll have a number of teams called on Selection Sunday, and I know you'll be at that breakfast.
I would like to be at. I would like to try to. I'm hoping that I'll be a part of that. I cannot, again, as mentioned, Coach Phil Martelli, I cannot thank you enough. One half of the chair people of Philadelphia Coaches of Cancer. It is so good to see you as always, and we'll definitely catch up with you.
Thank you.
Phil Martelli on another edition of Voice of Reason here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. This is part two of the 2017 and 22nd annual Jim Maloney Golf Classic here at the beautiful White Marsh Valley Country Club. And I'm with one of my favorite guests here on Voice of Reason, the pride of Philadelphia's Broad and Albany, LaSalle's own John Giannini. Coach G, always a pleasure to see you.
Hey, great to be here, Voice.
And it is always a pleasure to talk with you as well. What a great event, again, as mentioned, we've had. We've just finished the dinner portion, the event somewhat coming to a close. This was definitely a fantastic day, and we were here for a great cause.
Well, Fran Dunphy and Phil Martelli are national leaders in Coaches versus Cancer, and we try to be good role players. And, of course, all of us know people affected by this horrible disease. So there's every good reason possible to be involved with this, and we know it's helping people. It's helping survival rates, which is the most important thing. It's also helping the quality of care that people are able to get while they're sick with this terrible disease.
Well, You mentioned something about we're here for the cancer and what it's done. Up just a few days ago, we lost a very good friend of ours, and what you said earlier today certainly was a good example of it. Losing the wife of John Moscow of Archbishop Wood, the lovely Diane Moscow, passed away after a long battle with leukemia. Your thoughts on something like that, and what can that do with us in the basketball world? Because as you know, I'm more than just somebody who announces. I'm very involved in basketball.
Well, you are, and you're a friend to many people here, and we're all close, all the coaches.
Yeah, we as a community.
Yeah, absolutely, and my heart just breaks for John and his boys, ages 15 and 14, and it's an irreplaceable loss. And but somehow they'll find a way to get each other through, and they'll be carried through for this. And but the big thing is they'll always grieve and mourn the loss of their mother, but they'll also remember what a blessing she was to them. And I'm sure that the lessons that she taught them will live on in their lives, and someday probably with them as parents. So her legacy will last forever, but your heart just breaks for John and the boys.
So I definitely, in memory of my mother, my grandmother, and now Diane Moscow and Gary Papa, and just the list certainly goes on and on for those who have passed away from cancer. How close do you think, and thank God we've got people in medical science, but how close do you think we can be to come to a cure?
Well, survival rates are up 25%, and I think that the survival rate is at least 2 out of 3. So there's a really good winning record, around 70% right now, and and it's heading the right way. Yeah. So we're, I'm sure 30 years ago was probably well under 50%. Now we're up to 70, and let's just keep supporting these wonderful researchers and these brilliant people to try to get that thing closer and closer to 100%. But it's heading the right way, and that's the most important thing.
One final question for you. You had a great day again here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. Let's talk about LaSalle. This should be a very good year. You've got 2 big recruits coming in the next 2 years with Ed Croswell, Jared Kimbrough. What can you expect with what's coming in this year?
Well, we have 5 seniors, and they're all highly motivated because it's their last time around. B.J. Johnson, Pookie Powell, Lamar Stooks, Tony Washington, and Johnny Schuler. And then we have a lot of kids who haven't played much, but they're really talented. They're excited because it's their first chance. So we don't have any juniors. So we have a lot of guys who are getting their first chance, and that's really exciting. And we have a core group of guys who are getting their last chance, and they have a sense of urgency. So I think mentally we're in a really good place, and we have talent. Our schedule is really tough, so everyone we play is tough. But if we stay healthy and we defend well and make a few shots at the end of games, get a few calls, we might have a very special year.
Once again, a perfect day here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club today for a great cause. Dr. John Giannini, I forgot to, of course, address you as that. It's always so good, to have you here on Voice of Reason.
Thank you, Voice.
Dr. John Giannini again here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. Final thoughts, hopefully, and more college coaches are coming up next. Love saying that. All right.
Do the picture? All right, right here.
All right. All right, here at the 22nd Annual Coaches of Cancer of Philadelphia, here again at the White Marsh Valley Country Club, and always a pleasure to be here with one of my favorite guests and probably one of my favorite people in the world, the National Coach of the Year, the Big East champion, Villanova Wildcats, and he's my second actually guest at Villanova, the head man in charge, Jay Wright. Jay, good to see you as always, my friend.
Voice, always good to see you, buddy. Thanks for supporting Coaches versus Cancer.
I support the Coaches versus Cancer. You know that I have been heavily involved with cancer because I've lost family members, my mother, my grandmother. But the big one that we lost recently, Diane Moscow, 51 years of age, the wife of our good friend John Moscow, the head coach of Archbishop Wood. So we're really out here today as people and individuals to support everybody that's been touched by this horrible disease.
We are. And as you mentioned, Diane, the most recent, Coach Massimino passed away of.
Yes, I forgot to mention Raleigh Massimino.
But the most recent, Diane, was really shaking to the entire Philadelphia basketball community. John is a beloved guy, but one of the things we really loved about him was his wife Diane and his family. 2 young boys, and Diane was incredibly supportive, a nurse and a really bright lady.
Yeah.
And it is really sad to see those two young kids. And
Now, did you
that's
go
why-
to the viewing? Or
Yes,
you
yes.
did go to the viewing,
Yeah,
and you did pay your respects.
Actually, all the Big Five coaches did, and because we all knew Diane. She was so supportive of John, and we love his two young boys. So it was really a sad day, and the Philadelphia community though raises money for Coaches versus Cancer because of situations like that.
I think we're getting the hook, it looks like, but we'll make this one final question. Besides the fact that we lost a great friend in Raleigh Massimino, how supportive he was, what is the outlook for the upcoming season? You've got three great freshmen, Colin Gillespie, Damir Cosby, Roundtree, Jermaine Samuels. What are we expecting? How high are the expectations for the reigning Big East champions?
Well, I think the expectations are really high with the media and the fans, but we got to prove ourselves, and that's I'm very happy with the preseason, how the guys have worked, but that's the beauty of a season. You got to play them out, and we got a really difficult schedule. Playing all our games at the Wells Fargo Center this year.
True.
So it's going to be
playing at Jake Nevin Fieldhouse, or the Cat House, as you refer to.
we will play at Jake Nevin Fieldhouse against Penn. So it's going to be a great year.
It's also for Coach Massimino. Jay Wright, as always, we love seeing you. We love having you stop by here on Voice of Reason. It's still the best. I think it's still the best source for Tri-State sports.
Agreed, Voice.
Jay, always good to see you. Jay Wright here on another edition of Voice of Reason at White Marsh Valley Country.
Take your hat off.
I love. Yes, I'm taking my hat off, and I'm not even going to get to say goodbye to the pride of CBS, John Rothstein, before we're saying goodbye to him. But we're actually bringing in two of my favorite West Philadelphia coaches. Thank you again to all the Big Five coaches and City Six coaches. Now joined by Steve Donahue of Penn, and hopefully we're going to have Zach Spiker on in a few moments. But Steve, we'll start with you. Man, what a great history you and I have together, and as I mentioned, the history between you and me goes back a long way, and the history of cancer goes back a long way with the both of us. We lost a great friend, Diane Moscow, the wife of our good friend John of Archbishop Wood, and so what a great day it is to be out here today at White Marsh Valley Country Club.
Yeah, it's a great event, which is made by an incredible group of consistent people who give back, and
they do so
and
much.
obviously give a lot of their financial well-being, but also just their time. And it's a group in Philly that we've grown this with the help of all these great people, and I'm just really privileged to be a part of it.
Yeah, I you know what? I had a long day today. I spent more time in the sauna than I actually did, of course, getting some air, so it felt nice at least to be inside. But what a tough day again, as mentioned. We did have a great event. We raised a lot of money. We had a good time. We had good food. We had good fun, and really we had good entertainment. So your thoughts really about a day like this? You could do this forever. I mean, because I know you love charity.
Well, I love anytime we can use our platform as coaches to help against a great cause like this.
Yes.
It's incredible. And as I said, this doesn't happen in every city.
No.
Where we can continually have events like this and be such great support from the fans of college basketball, but we're all fans of, obviously, as Coach Martelli would say, crushing this horrific disease.
It's the best line that you could ever say. Every time, I'll tell you this, every time I'm around you, I feel like I feel like I can tell you everything that we need that I need to know. So this is going to be a great year coming up for college basketball. You're in, of course, the greatest building on earth, the Palestra. To me, it's heaven on earth. What are we expecting this year with the freshmen that you have coming in? Devin Goodman is coming back. Ryan Bentley is coming back. There's a lot of big names that we can keep an eye on this season.
Yeah, I'm excited because we started 3 freshmen when we made a little run there at the last year, and then the addition of 3 more this year.
Like a 7-footer from Utah, I believe.
Antonio Woods is also back.
Yes.
So we're really excited.
Steve Donahue again. We got to let him go. He's got things to do. Thank you again for being here on Voice of Reason. Again, Steve Donahue and Jay Wright here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. I'm Jake Schwartz. It's This is incredible. Again, as mentioned, here at the Coaches versus Cancer, again, Jim Maloney's 22nd annual golf classic. And, of course, this guy's got to eat his dinner as fast as he can so, of course, he can get home to his family. He's the second part of West Philadelphia college basketball, Drexel's own Zach Spiker. Zach, it's always good to see you, buddy.
Voice, great to be on with you, bud.
Well,
great
it's always,
right here.
oh, yeah. We're moving close to another chair, apparently. I didn't even realize that. But one thing we definitely want to talk about is you have such a great reputation being in the basketball world. You're, of course, the son of a trainer in the West Virginia area, and you have managed to make your way from the Army to discipline. You come from a good, I guess you could say, core in the New York West Point area, and now you're here in West Philly in your second year. It's been a great year. It's been a great time to be a basketball coach here in Philadelphia, and you've certainly taken on those challenges, especially coming off from a team that came off a 2-win season just 2 years ago. But today we are here for something a little bit bigger than basketball, and that's the cause of cancer. As Phil Martelli mentioned, we want to crush cancer. What a great day we had here today.
You know what? The turnout we had, as always, with the golf event and the fundraiser and the dinner, it's just awesome. And listen, there's 6 schools. Everyone's trying to win as many games as they can, but on these couple of days when we're fighting cancer, we all come together, and it's a great cause, and we're honored to do it.
And we lost, besides, over the years, my mother, my grandmother, a lot of people have been affected by this. I think you and I have one good thing in common. Well, I guess you could say one simple thing in common. We lost a very good friend of ours, Diane Moscow, at the age of 51 of leukemia. John Moscow, our good friend from Archbishop Wood High School, the head coach. How sad could it have been? And you feel like we're definitely honoring her legacy here today?
Well, I certainly hope so. I hope we are, and I think we are for sure.
Yeah, you've got a big year, again, as mentioned, coming up, my friend. With all the recruits again coming in, how high are the expectations?
We lost 23 games last year. I hope that we can be better at that.
I believe that. Well, we definitely know you have things you have to do. You've got to put your kids to sleep. Zach Spiker, again, always a pleasure to see you here on Voice of Reason. Thank you again for having the voice himself here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. We'll catch up with you.
It's an honor to be on your show always, Jacob.
Oh, thank you. Zach Spiker again, Drexel's own, here on Voice of Reason. You know, it's been, again, as mentioned, the White Marsh Valley Country Club here at, again, Lafayette Hill. And I'm always so thrilled to be joined by this man here, one of my favorite guests on Voice of Reason, one of my closest friends in the world. If I ever need any help with anything, if I ever probably broke down in the middle of the freeway, I don't think this man would ever be there for me. Fran Dunphy at Temple University. I'm only kidding. I know you would. It's always so good to see you.
Always be there for you, Jake, because you are the man.
Well,
you are the voice of reason.
I am the voice of reason. Today was a phenomenal day. Today the real winner was not Temple, was not St. Joe's, was not Penn, was not Villanova, was not LaSalle, was not St. Joe, was not any of these schools, was not Drexel. That's right. Today was the battle against cancer, and we had a great turnout. We had a great event. Phil Martelli, your partner, has said it best. We don't want to beat cancer. We want to crush it. What would you say about that?
Well, I appreciate everybody being here tonight, Jake. It's great that they would come out and play golf and spend their time and their efforts and their monies to help us try to fight this disease, which affects a lot of people. So we're grateful for it and grateful for people like you to broadcast all about it.
Thank you, because I lost my mother, my grandmother to this horrible disease, and I brought this up with all of our guests here today that we lost a very good friend of ours, Diane Moscow, a long battle with leukemia, 51 years of age, leaves 2 sons that are not even 16 years, 14 and 15-year-old boys, the wife of our good friend John Moscow, and it just was very emotional for a lot of us over the last weekend.
Yeah, it's tough to watch that happen, and John's obviously done a great job at Wood, but
Newman too. Yeah,
did a wonderful job at Newman before that, and he's just a good man, and the boys are great guys, and it's sad to see because Diane, and she fought really hard.
She did, and I think a lot of people, again, that we know fought hard. What is the message that you're trying to give to people all over the world? You're very well involved in this Coaches versus Cancer. People think of you and Phil Martelli as our team captains.
Well, listen, all 6 of us do what we do. We're all trying to be the best we can be at trying to fight this thing. And you have simple things like the the school initiative program out there that so many people are getting behind, and that we would love to grow that as best we possibly can. And I know you'll talk about that on your podcast.
I think so,
If there's schools that will do what some of these schools are doing right now, it would make a great difference, and it would give young people a chance to get involved, too, and really be a community service project for them.
Any chance I could maybe be the new PA announcer over at Temple?
That wouldn't be my decision, Jake,
I would not.
but I would certainly. I value what you bring to the table because you do a great job, Jake.
Thank you. Fran Dunphy, again, as mentioned, we want to thank him and all City 6 coaches for being here at Voice of Reason here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. Always good to see you, Fran Dunphy, here again on Voice of Reason.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, Jake Schwartz again here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club. Back outside here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club here in Lafayette Hill, Pennsylvania. Jake Schwartz again for Voice of Reason, and it was a great day again by all. The real winner again for a lot of people today, and probably for all, was the fight against cancer. And as you can see, we're actually walking down the stairs, seeing all the luminaries, and for those we lost, and we lost certainly a lot of people. And for Villanova, in this case, the loss of Raleigh Massimino, the longtime coach, Diane Moscow, the wife of our good friend John Moscow from Archbishop Wood. And that's why we're here, because we don't want to beat cancer. As our good friend Phil Martelli said on Voice of Reason, we want to crush cancer. Thank you to all City 6 coaches who were able to take part on Voice of Reason. Our guests Michael Hagan, Vince Papali, Jeff Arnold, George Halkovich, Shane Clark, all the guests that came on here today. We sincerely appreciate them coming on our show. What you're going to be listening to, folks, today, this is September 25th. It will be a 2-part episode of Voice of Reason because, unfortunately, with our phone that died, we were only able to broadcast. The first half of our phone died. When we were able to turn it back on, we had to put on a second part of this show. And again, we want to thank all of our guests from the City 6 coaches to more that joined us again here today. So with that being said, from all of us at the White Marsh Valley Country Club, this has been a presentation of Voice of Reason. For more information, visit us on Twitter, Jacob Schwartz 23. You, of course, can click on our Twitter page. We'll directly take you to our link. Once you click on our link, it will have of course, we will have the show for you today. And the real winner, again, as mentioned, the fight against cancer, as hopefully everybody wins in the fight against cancer. So again, from all of us here at the White Marsh Valley Country Club in Lafayette Hill, PA, I'm Jake Schwartz saying so long, everybody. We'll see you again at the games.